So some of the hotels are still doing the COVID thing of instead of having a breakfast, they have a grab and go. Well, here, because they have so many hikers, you have to go ask for it because they said if they just put them out, the bags just disappear. Gotta love hikers. This is why every hostel has, signs begging or demanding that you not steal the toilet paper from the bathroom because they can't keep up with it. They have it for sale, but yeah. So the coffee in these rooms is pretty much atrocious. I don't even bother with these because I can't choke it down. However, you can use these little crappy coffee makers to make water hot enough to then use an instant packet. That way you don't have to fire up your stove in the hotel room. Okay, quick food run, get 2.5 days of food, and then back to the hotel room to repack, and then I am down the trail. So the advantage of having Taters along is she probably would have come here yesterday. Whereas when I get in town, I just want to, sit in the tub and recover for a little while. Well, yes, I did get coffee to balance out my room coffee and crappy downstairs hotel coffee. Don't judge me. So to those of you that have expressed concern that I'm only eating absolute crap, again, I tend to be kind of opportunistic, so I take what I can get. I actually would be packing in a whole bunch of avocados today because I was at an actual grocery store, except they were kind of bad quality, so I'm settling for sandwiches, cheese, stuff like that. Ta-da! Might have slightly overdone it for 2-point-whatever days, but hey, good food. Okay, slightly late getting out of town today, and my pack is slightly heavier than usual, but that's okay because it's loaded up with deli sandwiches and all these yummy things I don't normally get. Now I just have to aim for probably 787, I think, is where I'm going to get picked up, and then go grab taters. And here we go again. I really gotta say, I was disappointed by what went on at Damascus, but Daleville fulfilled all that and more. This is a way better trail stop. There's Mexican food, coffee, like a full-on sizable grocery store, a cheap hotel that didn't have fire alarm and water issues, and beer. Nice day out here, other than it's really, really humid, and I am still really, really full. Well, on the plus side, it's the first time I can remember where I'm not on my way out of town going, gee, I should have had one more beer. Gee, I should have gotten a little more food. On the other hand, I am waddling up this hill feeling rather full. Oh well. So the full-hearted knob shelter at the top of this climb had a rainwater cistern. So the water had that, nice yellowish tinge to it, nice tangy flavor. Okay, 5 o'clock. I think I've only gone about 12 miles, but that's okay. Because I got another 4 or so hours of good hiking ahead of me. There's a shelter in about 7 miles. So I'm gonna have to hit that, fill up my water for the night. Ran across a guy back there doing trail magic. My stomach's not overly happy, so didn't really want any of the junk food, but I did appreciate the water bottles. So I've basically been paralleling Blue Ridge Parkway here. Not that much in the woods, huh? Okay, I'm still about 1.5 miles from the shelter, but my knee has started twinging on the downhills, and my stomach, it really hasn't been good for about half a day since leaving town. So I was able to refill water at a Trail Angels water cache back there. So unfortunately, I think I'm just going to hang out here. It's frustrating because I want to push on and make at least 20 because that'll make the following days easier, but there's no point. And the last thing I want to do is make my knee any worse. Home sweet home for the night. Unfortunately, I've got a little bit of road noise, but hey, had much worse on this trip, huh? Okay, still feeling kind of unusually tired and crappy this morning, but it is what it is. Gonna get going here, see how far I can make it. So it rained again this morning, though it's mostly dried off by now. Also, there was some sort of a dog running around barking middle of the night. He came pretty close to the tent. My knee seems to be doing better, at least for the moment. Unfortunately, tired, weak, and nauseous, I can't do a lot for. And there's nothing else to do but hike forward. You know, if I wasn't having kind of a rougher time of it, this section of trail does seem like it's gotten easier again. Granted, who knows what's around the next corner, right? Yeah, see, this is why I say the universe hates the plan. As soon as I tell the guy that's going to take me to get taters, oh yeah, I'll meet you at this point, something's got to happen. So while I was sitting next to that river back there filtering and drinking water, I found 4 ticks crawling across me. They're all the Lone Star variety. That's a little worrying and odd because I was sitting on, you know, cement and rocks. Used to seeing them more in vegetation. Not always, but yeah. Guess I need to retreat my gear. 5 o'clock. Got about 3,000 feet again until I top out, I think. Fun times. So interestingly enough, trail has gotten significantly quieter since Daleville, which is funny because I think I saw everybody I'd seen in the last 50 miles at Daleville. Since leaving, I've run into Farmer Giggles and nobody else really, a few day hikers. I don't know if it's just that all the trail families ended up holding at Daleville for an extra day or what. But hey, I am not complaining. There's been all sorts of campsites out here. Every time I look in at one of the shelters, there's, you know, 1 or 2 people there, but again, seem to be in between a bubble, which is exactly where I like to be. Still climbing. This is sweaty damn work. So how hot has it been out here? Well, I'm currently pretty much soaked solid in sweat, and I've stopped twice and drank 2 liters. You know, I basically fill up that 1.5 liter bottle plus some extra, and I'm not exactly peeing my way up the hills. And I'm about to stop at the bottom of this hill and do the same thing. So yeah, pretty warm. Okay, 8 p.m., so just looking for the next decent camp. And this will be my last night on the trail solo for a while. I'm gonna spend tomorrow night resting up in a cabin somebody offered me, and then Taters arrives the next day and we'll swap out the tent and be back on the trail the next morning, which will be fun, but I will miss my nice solo nights. The first 15 miles today, couldn't turn a corner without finding another campsite. Now, end of the day, last 5 miles, no campsites. This is why I've been debating switching to a hammock. Hennessy has a model that looks kind of promising with a bug net and rain fly and everything. Because then, you know, all you really need is 2 trees. You don't even have to find a durable ground spot. 9:10, there's supposed to be something up here. Of course, with my luck, there's probably somebody already in it, right? Okay, home sweet home for the night. Last night solo out on the trail. Well, at least until Jen leaves in August. Seem to be having a bit of a stove issue this morning, but I don't care. I just want my coffee. Bit of a breezy night, but not too bad. I was glad to finally get my campsite when I got up here since it had gotten dark. So despite the rough morning yesterday, things ended up working out, which is good because I had a big climb in the middle of the day that would have been rough if I was really dying. And my knee finally warmed up, and so I wasn't limping anymore. I actually made it quite a bit further than I was intending to. I was going to do just 20 and have about 10 miles to where I'm planning to get picked up. But instead I made 24 for the very, very good reason of there were no freaking campsites after that last shelter. 3rd cup of coffee today? Yeah, why not? Easy day. That was a rather breezy evening. I could have been protected in the trees, but I looked around and all I saw was like roots and rocks. Turns out I missed the really obvious dirt spot right in the middle, but there was a nearby, slightly more exposed tent pad that I used. And in the latest episode of The Trail Provides, I obviously made it a little further than Roanoke, where Taters is flying in tomorrow. But we had 2 very generous offers by people to basically give me a ride, pick up Taters, and get her out to the trail. The first was Dennis, who went so far out of his way to bring me the poles the other day. And the other was John, who mentioned that he also has a cabin that we were welcome to stay in. And since I was looking to kind of rest up before she joined me, that seemed to be just about perfect. So he's going to pick me up in about 6 miles here, and I'm going to get to rest and kind of turn over a couple of things. Spray with permethrin, do a resupply, yada yada. So yesterday was Tater's last day of the school year, and also her last night spent in the campground. She alternates between the campground and just sleeping in the back of her car on city streets when I'm not in town and we have the van. And she will be flying out tonight and basically doing an overnight and arriving early tomorrow. Somehow I always picture like, ow, easy downhill. And yet this trail likes to do these steep knee-breaking downhill. I was just chatting with the trail runner, and he was saying how he was out here yesterday and there was a huge group. So I seem to have a bubble about a day behind and a bubble about a day ahead, which is going to totally get screwed up by me jumping off to meet Taters. So for the inevitable comments of, well, why don't I stay at the shelters if it's hard to find a campsite? The last couple of shelters, per comments and what I've seen, have not had as much in the way of tent sites. You know, if you want to be in the shelter itself, okay, but, you know, otherwise you're kind of limited. Hey, I know that person. Bop it, not the parents. Super relaxing. Well, unless I roll that way. Proper civilization.